Welcome to another exciting episode of The Burning Bench. Today, size ups. Okay, they're a lot more involved than a size down. You have two seams you have to deal with, and your hand has to be steady enough to hold the piece while you're soldering it and get it in the right place. And what I've discovered with jewelry, it's the first time or the 400th time. It just depends. Quite often it feels like it's the 400th time, especially setting heads. But that's an adventure for another episode. Right now, I have a ring. First thing I do, check for loose diamonds. And this is big enough I can use my tweezers on. Everything's tight, looking good. Well, I want to make this ring a size 9. And currently it's a little over size 7. I got my saw blade. My saw frame. Find approximately the middle of the shank. Made a little bit of a mark. Lubricate my blade. Now when I'm sawing, I'm not putting any downward pressure, downward meaning down this way, not this way, on the blade itself. I'm kind of letting the weight of the saw frame saw through the metal. And the reason for that is that these blades are thin and broken easily. And if you're adding any extra pressure to them, they're going to get hot and break quickly. And you'll go through a lot more blades. And they're not inexpensive blades. They're not expensive, but they're not inexpensive either. We want to measure the width and the thickness of our ring. So it looks like it's 276 by 121. I'm going to need a piece of sizing stock a little bit bigger than that. And this looks good. And this is 318 by 135. Perfect. Oh, there they are. I do that all the time. I lose my tools and they're right in front of my face. What I'm doing now is I want to flesh out the end of this. I could use my dividers, take my gauge, mark off the size of piece I need, then scribe that onto my sizing stock. But I find that it's quicker if I go and put this in on the mandrel, put the ring on the mandrel, take my sizing stock, put it up against one side, and just rub it against the other side of the opening of the where we cut to put the ring, the sizing stock in, and it leaves me with just a little bit of just a score line. Making sure that I cut it straight. I'll mark it. I want to cut the end of this, file the end of this a little bit straighter. Now we're going to cut our piece. So I have my sizing stock. I take my ring. And what I need to do is I need to open this up a little bit so it's kind of a bypass so I can get my piece in there when I go to solder it. And I'll take, these are called bow closing pliers. In the old days, now they're called duckbill shank pliers, I think. Something odd like that. Because we don't have too many bow. The bow that they're referring to is the bow on top of the watch, pocket watch that you hook your chain in. And I don't know, we don't have too many pocket watches these days. But unlike my other shank pliers, these will mar the surface a bit because it's got a soft brass for the cradle. Alrighty. Open this up just a little bit more. Now, pliers. I don't even know. It's amazing I get any work done. Tweezers. Little denatured alcohol. We never turned our torch on. Well, let's do that right now. Turning the torch on. Woohoo! That was a big flame. I love the flame. Coffee break. So, lighting it a fire. Okay, I need a different pair of tweezers. We have the one in that we fleshed out. I like to kind of dry test it and make sure that everything's in the right place for me before I torch it. Okay, looking good. Flux. Now this flux is normally like a lime green color, but when you set it out underneath the fluorescent lights, it loses its color, but it doesn't lose its effectiveness, just the color. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to pick up some solder on the end of my gold stock. I then set the sizing stock in position, and then I heat the ring and the sizing stock evenly. The larger piece is going, the ring itself is going to take longer to heat. So we have to always keep our eye out on our sizing stock so it doesn't get too hot and melt. Done that before. So let's get this train a-rolling, so to speak. The first time. It's always good, especially in an instructional video. Make it look like I really am good at what I do. I got it in there on the first time. I'm proud of myself. Let that cool a bit. We can talk about the weather. But while that's cooling, I'm going to take a coffee break. The ring is cool now. I'm going to take my barrette file, flush out the other side of the sizing stock so I can take and put my ring together and finish and solder the second joint. get my ring mandrel and my rawhide mallet. That gets the ring kind of bent around close. Now I'm going to get my regular shank pliers with the nylon cradle. The ring is lined up and ready to solder. Put it in the third hand. Flux it. Need to cut a little bit more solder. Now I'm going to pick up some solder. And place it on the ring. Now I'm going to take it off of here. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to remelt the second side from the top because we soldered it from the bottom. And then the first side. And the second side I'm going to remelt from the bottom to draw the solder through. That way, I'm reasonably sure that I'm going to have a decent solder all the way through. It's going to bond well, and I won't have pit marks. Our ring's cooled down now, or it should be. Get our mandrel. Letting it cool down on the mandrel a little bit too. I can tell it's just a little bit warm. I am going to kind of pre-bend this a little bit. Just like on our size down, we're going to file the inside of the shank. Always the inside first. So that's what the lap pan's for. I just dropped the ring. And when I'm filing this, if you notice, I file from one direction, then I turn the ring around, file it from the other direction. This way we get an even inside file. Okay. Rounded it, make sure it was a size 9. Now I'm going to trim the rest of the ring up. First, the side. Should look in the lap pan before I go searching for something. It was right here all the time. I use my emery board. Core side first. I'm going to round out my edge. Now I'm going to trim down the top. When I'm filing this, I have my ring sideways so I can see the edge of the shank so I don't overfile it. I'm going to do a final smoothing with my emery board. Gonna trim up the inside just a little bit more. It's done. It's a size 9. The only thing I have left to do is polish it, throw in the ultrasonic, steam it, wrap it, and send it on out. If you have any questions and comments, you can email me at logan1studio@aol.com. Also, just for a footnote, if you have any questions on polishing, just reference episode 2. It goes through the whole polishing procedure. I'm not really sure what he's talking about. I'm going to teach you how to do a sterling band. So tune into my show, not his. Till then, I'm Willie. Thanks for tuning in.